but if your calendar is open from 9 till 9, they open your calendar and they will think immediately, man, there's so much spaces, bro. This person has nothing to do.
All right. Welcome back to the Expert Series. And today I am honored and so excited for this conversation with Vash. He's a 25-year-old serial entrepreneur. He's built 3 businesses to 7 figures in just 3 years. And before that, he actually was an Uber Eats delivery guy. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the shifts that happened in order to actually build these businesses successfully. But he's coached over 1,000 entrepreneurs from 62 countries and really helped them grow their businesses, but also live more fulfilled lives. So thank you for being here. And I just can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you, Jamie, for having me. Very excited.
Well, okay. So let's start there. Let's go back. Let's go back in time a few years. You were delivering for Uber Eats. Let's share a bit of your story, where you came from.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm originally from the Czech Republic, which is a small country in Europe. And I went normal path because, again, I wasn't exposed to much. I wasn't exposed to entrepreneurship or just, different route than the corporate route. So I continued to university and to earn for a living. I was delivering food for Uber Eats, but not in my car, on my bike. So there was exercise every day. And basically, I read when I was 18 the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That opened my mind to what's possible. It was like my books that was very small now opened to new potentials. And I was like, I want to start a business that I believe a lot of people want, but don't take much action towards it. And I was the same case. I had the information how to start a business, but I was procrastinating. I was afraid because English is not my first language. I had fear of rejection, fear of what other people will think of me. So as a result, I was consistently saying I'm not ready yet. But one day when the turning point happened was I'm delivering the food, meeting the other delivery guys, and I see their 40s, 50s, and being so unfulfilled, so unhappy because they can't give their families what they want. They can't give them the holidays or the free time or the resources they would like to. And I said, no more. This is not how I want to end up. And that was the turning point for me to go from I would like to have a business to we are going to make it work. So that was the turning point. And then I followed what I now call 4-step process, which was first I had to know where I want to go. If we open Google Maps, what is the first thing we need to put there? Where you want to go. So a lot of people don't have clear vision, clear goal. So I was very clear where I want to be in the next 90 days. Second is, what is my reason why I am not going to give up? A lot of people set a goal. There's nothing hard. And their reason why is it would be cool or it would look good on social media, but that's so weak. Why? That they will give up. Because obstacles are inevitable, I believe. But your strong reason why will get you through it. So that was second. I had clear reason why I was doing it. It was very strong. And then I put 3 actions that I will do every single day to get to my goal. Because a lot of people hope they will achieve their goals. I want to make sure I will get there. Yes. So I started marketing agents. It was my very first business. So actually just running paid advertising for people. And so I knew what 3 actions would get me there. First was I would record 10 personalized videos to potential customers to get meetings. Second, I would learn sales because I truly believe if we learn how to sell, we will never go hungry because sales is such a great skill to have. And third is I would visualize. So I would visualize for 15 minutes every day that the goal is already achieved. Why? Because my goal was to hit $10,000 a month, but I've never earned that sort of money. I've never even had that sort of money in my bank account. So going from this almost broke guy to making $10,000, it seems unbelievable. And if you don't believe it's possible, you're not going to take much action. So I visualize over and over again that I woke up, I hit the number, I run to the kitchen, I shout, Mom, Dad, I did it. And we celebrated together and I visualized it over and over again. And what happened, Jamie, that a few weeks later, I started to believe it's already done.
Oof.
And if you believe it's already done, you start acting very differently. You start feeling very differently. So that was kind of what happened. And again, it wasn't that easy because I sent 630 personalized videos 63 days later, and I got no meetings, no clients, no money in my bank account. And I know that most people would give up because
Mm,
they would say, what's the point? Why even try? But I knew that my time is coming, and there was the feeling I deserve it. And that's, I believe, what a lot of people miss is they don't feel deserving of it.
mm.
But there came a point when I was like, Vash, you are showing up, you deserve it. And then in the next 27 days, I closed enough deals and I made the $10,000 day 90, which was also my day I graduated from university. So
Wow.
that was my beginning.
Oh, that's amazing. I love your story. And this process as well is so timely, by the way, because I did a training in my mastermind program yesterday about the power of this. And
Nice.
so you got clear on your 90 days. You got like concrete on why it is you want to do that. And then you basically put together the three actions you need to do and show up consistently in order to achieve that thing. But you mentioned 4 steps. What was that fourth step?
Yeah, the fourth one is probably the most crucial one is I believe the life we have now was created by us. The bank account we have, the health we have, the relationship we have, whether it's good or bad, was created by us. We can't blame economy, inflation, parents. Let's get over it. We are the ones who created it by our decisions and actions. And so I believe if we want to upgrade our life, we first need to upgrade ourselves.
Mm.
So what was the question was, who do I need to become to get there? Because the insecure, nervous, unconfident me who was watching hours of Netflix each day would never build a successful business. Never. I
Yeah.
had to first become confident. I had to first become focused. I first had to do certain behaviors that would successful version of me do. So anytime I want to level up, I ask myself, okay, if I was in this shape, how would that person think, act, feel? Okay, if I was making $1 million, how would I think, act, feel? If I was having this beautiful romantic relationship, so I'm always upgrading myself first, and then life catch. It's just the life follows. As you upgrade yourself, the external will reflect that.
It's so true. And then I feel like asking myself the question of like, when you're clear of that version, and I always picture like a mountain. Okay. And you've got like one person at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom of the mountain, one person at the top. And you're like, okay, the person who's achieved that thing, what decision? And a lot of times it's for me, like a big one is like investing in myself. And it's like, okay, what would that
Mm-hmm.
version of me who's already accomplished the thing say now? Would she say yes? Or would she run away from this opportunity? And a lot of times, like that gives me all the clarity I need to either like,
Mm-hmm.
go a different direction or decide to say yes to the thing. Right. And I think that as well, when you're clear on your vision, I mean, the answer. Right. So I'm curious, like, do you ask yourself
Exactly.
that too when you're making decisions of like, what would he do? And then,
100%. I believe
yeah.
clarity is power, but a lot of people don't have clarity on the action steps they need to take. They don't have clarity how would the future self behave, think, or feel, and that's why they can't act accordingly. But I have few phrases which are very similar. It's just maybe different point of view, which is for me is either what would the future self do or what would greatness do. So
Ooh, I
let's
like
just
that
say
one.
it's 4 p.m. Now, busy day. I feel maximized. And now there's a tendency to go on social media, for example, and I ask myself, what would greatness do? And I know the answer is not go on Instagram. So what happens is just asking myself the question, it puts me in a more resourceful state so I can be like, Vash, actually, no. This is not what
Mm.
would the future self Vash do. This is what the old self do. Okay, what would greatness do? Greatness would now grab a book. Greatness would go and plan his next day. And as a result, the more I'm aligning my decisions with the future self, the more I'm becoming him. And once I become him, then the reality follows.
I love that. What would greatness do? I'm going to use that one. I
Of
appreciate that. So then let's talk
course.
because you brought up, like shifting your internal state, and you've mentioned meditation a few different times. And I also know the power of meditation. I've done it every year for 5 years now, roughly, like right around five
Nice.
years. So I'd be curious for you, like, and I know you've got a story too of how you sat in darkness for 7 days in meditation. Like, I want to hear all about your journey with meditation and how you feel like it's played into your success as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So it started very normally that I read everywhere on internet, you should meditate or this entrepreneur meditate. So I was like, okay, let me pick up Headspace or Calm, these apps. So I would start 10 minutes just focusing on my breath. And first time the 10 minutes felt like 2 hours. I thought the timer is broken because I've never sat with myself for that long. And and I realized that there's such a power as I progress to be with you, because a lot of people think self-love is going for a massage.
Mm,
Yes, it's good, but I believe self-love is developed when you start spending time with yourself, because how can you love yourself if you don't know yourself? If I told my partner, I will spend 2 minutes with you each day, we are not going to have the great relationships.
mm,
And that's how most people do. They have extra 30 minutes, they listen to audiobook. They have extra 15 minutes, they scroll Instagram. There's never time when they have time to be with themselves.
mm,
And that's, I believe, big challenge for most people. So I started to kind of do 10 minutes more this mindfulness, we could call it. And then I started to do more visualization. So visualizing in detail that I have the life I want to create. I have the physique, the partner, the money, whatever it was. And so I started to visualize a lot. And then I started studying Joe Dispenza. And I'm a big guy of going all in, because most people dabble. They do something
yeah.
for a few days and quit. I want to master it. So it
Mm,
made sense what he was teaching. I was like, okay, what would all in look like? So I
mm.
started meditating 3 hours a day. So hour in the morning, hour after lunch, hour before
Ooh,
going to bed.
uh-huh. Okay.
So I just and I started to get incredible results. I started radiating incredible energy, just business flow to me, things flow to my life, and I was like, man, there is so much benefits to this. And then I started attending in seminars, and then I started coaching people, also meditation, but try to simplify it because not everybody has 3 hours. So I recommend people 15 minutes.
Mm,
And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to take it a step further, because I believe I want to walk the path so others can step into my footprints
mm,
and they don't need to go as deep as I went. So I was like, okay, what would be the challenge? I said, okay, there are these darkness retreats, which are specifically designed rooms where there is complete darkness. And I was like, I will do it on water, so no food. And so I went there, and it was one of the deepest, amazing experiences, not only personally, but also I proved to myself that my three businesses can work a whole week without me, because I
mm,
was never disconnected for more than 48 hours. So, yeah, so I'm a big believer in meditation. And there is a reason for, even when we are very logical, if you just focus on your breath, you will be more present. You will be more focused. So your work output will be better. Your
mm,
conversations will be better because you will be more in the moment. So even if we speak
mm,
only about these tangible results, but also I believe you will get to know yourself, and knowing yourself is the wisdom, because if you know
mm,
what triggers you, if you know what scares you, you can then work with it. And
mm,
also I believe that there is a reasons why every sports team uses visualization. There is a reason that when we visualize, the body and brain doesn't know the difference between what we visualize and what we experience. So I
mm,
use it as a fast track. I call it fast track to my goals, because rather than waiting until I hit the goal to feel confident, I can visualize it, feel confident now, and as a result, I will get to the goal faster.
mm. Yeah, that's really amazing. I'd be curious, and I know this is probably a hard question, but in those 7 days of complete darkness, like, what do you feel like was your number one takeaway from that?
I would like to share two that
Okay.
were
Yeah.
like very that I'm able to express, we could say, or at least pass on others and they can learn from it. So I realized that on paper that year, because it was towards the end of the 2020, I realized on paper I lived incredible life. If I showed you, hey, I traveled to 25 countries, I met these cool people, I experienced this, you would say, wow, you live incredible life. But when I was honest with myself, I'm on vacation A thinking about vacation B. I'm on dinner thinking
Mm.
about lunch next day. I'm with person A thinking about business problem. So I was never in the moment to truly, truly enjoy it. I was always few days, few months, few hours ahead. I
Mm.
wasn't in that moment. So that's what I realized, that present moment is the only place where we can enjoy it. You can
Mm.
look back on photos and say, oh, it was quite cool, but if you didn't have fun when it happened, then what's the point? So that was first. So since then, I started to be more aware of being in the moment, whether it's conversation with you, whether it's dinner, trip, doesn't really matter. And
Mm.
second lesson I took away is the more I spend time with myself in silence, I started to be so happy. Like I was just like so happy being in my own company, we could say. I was just like feeling very good. And I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, I didn't taste anything. And the idea that came to me were two. First is that the heaven is truly within,
Mm.
that it's inside of us in a way. And second is, if I can be happy in dark room where nothing is happening, then once I walk out, it will be like a Disneyland, because you can
Mm.
see so many things, so much variety, so many beautiful people, nature. So yeah, I just realized that we are so blessed to be on this planet, and let's enjoy it to the fullest.
Mm. Oh, that's a beautiful, like two beautiful takeaways. So it really comes down to like being in the present, but also, yeah, like really, really truly having, I don't even want to say gratitude because that sounds like a whole nother level of just appreciation for our surroundings and the world that we live in, but just being present in what we have around us. Sounds like it was, hmm,
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly. Because I truly realized that why present moment, again, so many people speaking about it, but why I believe is so crucial is if you're not in the present moment, you can't change.
Hmm.
Because most of what you do day to day is a habit. And most of the time, you're truly unconscious. You don't think about, I don't know, after dinner, taking the ice cream as you always do. You do it automatically. Some people take automatically phone when they go to the bathroom. You don't think about it because you're on autopilot. You're truly unconscious. But if you're present, you can start making the changes. You can say, hey, do I want the ice cream today? Actually, no. Hey, do I want to go on the phone and distract myself? No, because you're in the present moment. You have almost the time to respond or choose. But
Hmm.
if you're caught up in your head about some problem, some challenge about yesterday, about tomorrow, you will do automatically grab the phone, distract yourself, do react, shout at somebody. So I truly believe that to truly change, we need to be present.
Mm. Yeah, that's really powerful. I agree. I agree because most of our lives are on autopilot or basically unconscious. And so being in the presence gives you your power back. Mm.
Exactly.
So then I'm curious too, like, you know, I think so often this is really interesting. I had this conversation like earlier this week. So often people know what to do, right? When we're talking about setting these goals and actually like achieving them, they know what to do, but then why do most people not do them? Does it go back to like not being in the habit, right? Or not being in the present? Or where do you think that comes from? It's like I know to do the thing, but I'm not doing it. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. So there are usually a few things. First, anytime we want to change, it's uncomfortable, you know, because it's something new, it's something unknown. We've never done it very likely. So for a lot of people, there is almost the fear, even though the future sounds better than what they have now, but still, at least this is familiar. This is
Mm.
safe. This is something I know. So for some people, it's just the fear of will I make it? What other people will think of me if I make a change? Will I lose love if I start changing? There could be some type of fear usually. And second, as you said, a lot of people these default or they forget. Human nature is to forget. That's why I'm designing my environment so I don't forget. So let's just say I wanted to be more in the present moment. I would put the stickers on in my bathroom, on my fridge, in my office, present moment. So because I will go and I maybe from seminar and I might be, yes, I will be present. And then if I don't remind myself, I will forget a few hours later and again default, go autopilot. So I think a lot of people simply forget. And that's why I want to create cues or some reminders in my environment that remind me of my change. And I believe in accountability. That's why I am a big fan of everybody should have accountability buddy, coach, whatever it is. Because if you're in your own room and nobody stands behind you, there are no consequences if you don't do it. It's easy to not do it. But if you know that you would need to pay somebody money, if you know that somebody is kind of holding you accountable, it will be harder to skip the task you promised. So I like the idea of accountability a lot.
Yeah, that's huge. And I like the idea of the like sticky notes around the
Yeah.
home, just like those constant reminders, or even like the
Yeah.
reminders on your
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah. I have on my here,
Ooh.
present and abundant.
Oh, I love that.
you know?
Yeah.
So I have it on the desktop. I have it in my on my when I wanted to express gratitude before eating, I would put just a sticky note on my dinner table called gratitude. So every time I would sit down, I would remember, hey, express gratitude. And of course, after month 2, 3, you can remove it because it's a habit. But
Mm,
especially the first few weeks, months, you want to go a little extreme to make sure that the habit will stick and you will overwrite the old habit of eating fast, not even thinking about what you eat, and replacing it with a habit of eating slowly and expressing gratitude before you start eating.
mm, yeah. I'm gonna start doing that. I love the idea of those constant reminders because I agree when I feel like I'm in flow and yeah, like committed to doing something, I'm so excited about it, but then it's really easy to, yeah, kind of forget about the fact that that was a goal. So, yeah, I love that. And so you've mentioned too, like productivity and like going all in on things. And I think that's something really important to highlight, especially like when we're kind of on this topic right now, and especially
Yeah.
optimizing your performance. So what is something you feel the listener could do to really immediately boost their productivity today?
Yeah, a few things. First, plan your day in advance. Most people come to the desk and they don't have a clear plan. So what they start doing, answering emails,
Mm,
answering SMS, maybe ordering things from Amazon, like total bullshits, honestly, that totally steal their most productive hours. So what do? Day before, I will set, if I could achieve only 3 things, which 3 things are going to push the business forward, my life forward. And those are the things I start. Also, I have 2 phones. On my one phone, I have only meditation and alarm clock. This is a phone I use till lunch. And my main phone, which has SIM card, people can call me, is I can't see it. Out of sight, out of mind.
mm,
That way, I don't know about any calls, any messages, any emails until lunch. So from 7 a.m. till 12, I have 5 hours of deep work on priorities that move the business forward. And I know I achieve more than in 5 hours than most people in a whole week. So
ooh,
the productivity tip is first, plan your day in advance. Then make sure in the morning you focus deeply on priorities. No SMS, no notifications, nothing like that. There's no point. And then make sure that you just silence the notification or you put your phone as far away as possible so you can stay focused.
that's great advice. I'd be curious for those though who run their business on social media, right? If they've got to be showing up and like speaking for a friend, okay, like engaging with the community and like, building up more of a tribe there. how do you balance that? Because for me, I find if I don't do that, not first thing, because I'll do my entire morning routine and then I do those type of activities because I feel like if I don't do them right away, I'm not going to do them during the day. So I like to kind of like get those things done in an hour and then have the rest of the day to do other things. So like how would you handle that?
Yeah. Yeah, I have social media accounts to grow my business as well. But again, I know that first the difference between me answering them in the morning and after lunch is not day and night, but
Hmm.
the loss of focus is day and night.
Oh,
Because
that's
I know that you open the platforms, you check few things, few messages throw you off, and then you should go record a video. Good luck, because half of your brain is still focused on the problem that the person wants a refund. Let's just
mm,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
so
if I
true.
don't know there is the refund, I'm not focused on it. I have 100% brain capacity, bandwidth to focus on really producing something. So if you
Mm,
look at my calendar from 7 till 12, no social media, no calls, nothing. But why? Because if I want to be the best coach and deliver the best results, I must work on the programs. I must work on myself. I would be doing disservice if I answer them
mm,
in the morning, because then the productivity throughout the day would be terrible. I would create mediocre programs and I would be mediocre coach.
oof.
So I believe if it can't wait until lunch, you don't have life in a way, because then you are slave to them, because anybody can wait till lunch unless it's of course emergency. But we are not talking about emergency here.
No.
And then yeah, maybe in the future, again, depends on the vision, but let's say the posting is done by somebody, by my assistant, because it was still taking away my focus, and it wasn't me posting is not bringing any value. Me creating the video is a lot of value. Me posting it, figuring out stuff is not what brings value to the table. So that's how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that's really huge. And I'd be curious, like, and I know you probably have a team member. It sounds like for 7 days, like you shut off completely and your businesses were still
Mhm.
running. So I'm sure, like, even if we look back in time a bit to the beginning of your journey, when you were taking things like sales calls and you were doing more things inside of your business. So just for clarifying sake, so like afternoon you would have your lunch and then from then you would have your calls, you would manage your team, so you would save all of that stuff for the afternoon. Because even for me, like we do our team calls in the morning. And I think what you're saying then is save all of that type of stuff for after lunch, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is like to simplify it, and this is doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur, just one, or if you have a team of 20, doesn't really matter. The principle is this: in the morning, you focus on creating. You
Mm,
might create videos, you might create scripts, you might create strategies, you might record marketing, you create
yeah.
things that move the business forward. Most people focus on maintenance. They are maintenance guys. They
Ooh.
focus on keeping people happy, posting, but it's maintaining business. What's going to get you to the next level? What's going to 10x your business? That's what you focus in the morning. And even if I started, so I told you the free activities.
Mhm.
Those were the first three things. I would record 10 videos because they are very exhausting. I would study sales 2 hours because they are very important to me. And I would visualize 15 minutes. Then people who have my calendar, let's say for sales calls, if they open my calendar, there is no spaces between before lunch.
Mm,
So
yeah.
the only time they can book a call is in the afternoon. My team calls, afternoon. Coaching calls, afternoon. There is a reason for it, because I know I can produce more in the morning than most people in a whole week.
Oof.
And that's my competitive advantage. I built 3 7-figure businesses in 3 years. It's not a very slow path. Why? Because I'm efficient. And I believe
Mm.
efficiency shortens the time.
I needed to hear this today. It's like I really did because I think I think this is just so important for myself, but also the listener to hear and also give yourself permission that just because it's 9 a.m. doesn't mean you have to open up your schedule to take a call. I love that.
Exactly. Because two principles goes there. First, you are the one opening the calendar anyway.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
so I believe a lot of entrepreneurs are in the prison. They have keys too.
That's true.
This is what I always tell people. because they said, no, 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 I need to be there at 9 a.m. Who said that? You know, that's you in your head. And this is kind of almost false urgency we have in our head. I must take calls at 9 a.m. What if somebody can't do afternoon? That's scarcity. If you want to be coached, that you attract people, that people want to work with you, they're on a wait list to work with you, you must be little exclusive. But if your calendar is open from 9 till 9, they open your calendar and they will think immediately, man, there's so much spaces, bro. This person has nothing to do. But if they open my calendar, there are 2 spots in 2 days. They're like, oh, I better get my spot. You know, this guy's busy. He's not playing around. So I believe we are creating in our head these scenarios that are not true. They feel true. They feel urgent, like, oh, but I must be online. I must reply to the emails. But train yourself. Don't go to lunch immediately. Push it till 9:30. Then a week later, do 10. Week later, do 11. And in a month, you will get there and it will feel so easy. But now it will be suicide in your head. So push it hour, 30 minutes. Get used to it and push it more. And sooner or later, you will find out that you have 3, 4, 5 hours in the morning that you can dedicate to create something meaningful, whether it's a course, strategy, maybe you want to think about your own life. Doesn't really matter, but this is the most valuable time.
And that's amazing. And I'm really interested. And actually, it felt so liberating this year. So we're living like full-time RV life right now, traveling around. And it felt so liberating to just block out my entire Wednesdays for no calls. Like something about that just felt so good. But I want to talk a bit more about what you said about how entrepreneurs like have created this prison, but they hold the keys, because that is something that I think is becoming like this global problem of entrepreneurship is like this glamorized thing. But first off, I mean, I really do think, I mean, let's go back to what Russell Brunson says, like it's the 1% crazy, but we have like 50, I don't know the numbers for this specifically, but like half of the world trying to become an online entrepreneur, and they're locking themselves, yes, into this prison and really like throwing the keys. So they can't even reach it. They can't escape. Like, I would love your take on this. Like, why do you think this is happening? I think it comes down to like, they're so ingrained into the system of needing to work a 9 to 5 job that Monday through Friday, they're basically just sitting down behind the computer desk, not getting up, and basically lacking that productivity that we were talking about before. But what is your take? Like, why is this becoming such a problem?
Yeah, it's a great point, because I believe if I ask 10 entrepreneurs why you started a business, most of them will say freedom. If I ask
100%.
them, do you have freedom? They say no. Now, when was the last time you took vacation without your phone or without being connected to business? Never. So I believe the reason is also a lot of these people listen, people like sleep when you're dead, you need to hustle 16 hours a day. And I tell these people this, I tell people, whatever you believe will become your reality. So if you believe to be successful, you need to hustle 16 hours a day, that's your reality. It will become your reality. But if I believe, I got to a point where my first business, I said, can I make $50,000 a month profit while working 1 hour a week? I was like, let me put it to test. And I started using visualization, affirmations. I would be hiring people. And my first business started doing $50,000 a month profit when I was working 1 hour a day, then 1 hour a week. Just because I believe something and I started to act accordingly. So I believe a lot of our beliefs are just filters that are not even true, but they seem true to us. So that's why I question my beliefs. Like, do I really need to put 12 hours a day to be successful? Do I really need to sacrifice my sleep, my family? And I believe that certain people adopted beliefs that are no longer serving them anymore. And they are just afraid to delegate. And usually they don't delegate because they believe another terrible belief, which is nobody can do it better than me, which is a great belief for your ego. It's terrible belief to have free time.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, so for you, when you were working an hour a week, making 50K, I agree, because when you're showing up as that version of yourself, you make different decisions that would support that ultimate end goal. So I would imagine most of what you did was putting the right people, the right who's into the positions to basically remove yourself from those roles, which ultimately granted you freedom and enough time to work on your next
Exactly.
project as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if I was doing it, then why I can't find somebody who will do the same thing I was doing? Immediately, I don't need to do much.
Right.
So that's the thing, because I was studying Tony Robbins. That guy has 70 companies. Okay, person cannot probably work in 70 companies at once. So you study deeper, and all he does is maybe invest their money and make one strategic decision every quarter. And that's basically what I started doing. I hired key people who are smarter than me.
Mm.
Of course, in coaching, I don't want anybody to coach for me, especially the high programs.
Yeah.
But in the business, do I need to send emails? No. Do I need to reply to clients? No. I'm not the best at it anyway.
Yeah.
Do I need to sell people? No, I can hire a sales guy. So what started to happening is I just replace my activities by somebody who can do it even better than me.
Mm.
And that's how basically you can work few hours a week while your business continue growing if you set the right processes and you have the right people in the right place.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. Now, I'm curious if you have a framework for hiring or a way that you've done this to find someone better than yourself, because that is definitely something that I've struggled with is finding the right person to plug into these positions. And what's interesting is we have the whole world at our fingertips, but that can get a little bit overwhelming or you have a bombardment of people. So, what is your process for hiring the right person?
Yeah. First, a lot of, again, maybe listeners is not going to like to hear this, but a lot of people ask me, how do I attract A players? And I tell them, you attract them by being a company worth working for,
Ooh.
because A players want to work with amazing companies or amazing culture or amazing leaders.
Mm.
So sometimes it's a good mirror. If you're not attracting A players, it means probably you're not company yet that deserves to have A players.
Mm.
So that was first a reality check that I had to be honest with myself that I need to get better clients maybe, or I need to get better culture, or better benefits, whatever it is, because that was first thing. Second, I realized that more important than skill to me in many areas is the attitude. As long as they are hungry, as long as they are just willing to learn, I'd rather go for a person with good attitude and less skill than more skill and worse attitude. So I started hiring these people who had the potential to become A players, even though they weren't yet. So
Mm.
they had the potential to be A players, but they needed some nurturing. They needed some coaching. So when I started hiring, I started to have more work than when I hired them. And that's what most people don't understand. They hire thinking, my job is done. No, 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 no. Especially first 2, 4, 6 weeks, you want to be hands-on. You want to give them challenges. You want to do it like a training camp for them. So they become so responsible, so good at what they are doing that after 6 weeks, you will leave them alone and they will do incredible job.
Mm.
But you leave them alone first day, you're screwed. So I was just willing to invest my time, my coaching, my experience to get these potential A players into A players.
Mm. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. Okay. So really nurturing them and developing, molding them, but also giving them an environment to thrive in is really important as well.
100% give
Yeah.
them responsibility. Like I'm never the leader who said, you do this, you do that, you do that. I'm like, hey, team, what do you think we should do? Because if they say it, they take responsibility. If I say it, they just comply and not going to do their best. So I'm giving them a lot of responsibility. All of my people in my company have percentage. So the better they work, the more paid they get. I know everybody's motivation because not for everybody it's money. For some it's culture, learning. For some it's more free time. So I know their motivations. And if I'm hiring, I always do questionnaire with multiple questions. So if I get hundreds of responses, I don't go. I'm not going to have hundreds of calls. I
Mm.
always tell them to include video so I get their energy, I get their attitude. 99% of people I just throw away. I choose five. I have call with five. And from the five, I choose one. So
Mm.
that's how I simplify it.
Okay. Thank you. This has been so helpful. I'm excited because I'm expanding my team right now. And so I'm going to take this really into consideration as I start combing
Amazing.
through these applications. Like there's so many of them. Like it's a beautiful thing, but it can be a little
Yeah.
overwhelming right now.
Yeah.
So thank
It's
you.
a journey. It's always a journey.
Yeah. I know it's a wild ride, isn't it? Well, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on today. And for those listening, where can they find you?
Yeah,
Where can they
if you
learn
have guys
more?
any question, yeah, if you have any question, just go to my Instagram. That's the best place to ask me questions or follow me. So it's Vash VSH underscore Tomanek TOMANEC. And if you have any question, shoot them there. And if you want to learn more about the coaching I run, it's myentrepreneur.com, which is mindset and entrepreneur together. So
Mm,
myentrepreneur.com.
thank you so much. And I guess before we jump off here, do you have anything else coming through that you would like to leave the listener with?
Yeah, I would say this. We covered a lot of ground today.
We did.
And I believe that it's not about what you know, it's about what you apply. A
Mm,
lot of people know they should set goals. A lot of people know that they shouldn't do much social media in the morning, but they still don't do it. So it's not about what you know, it's what you apply.
mm,
So I want everybody to reflect. What is one thing you're taking away from today that you can immediately apply to your life? Whether it's you will schedule time to set your vision, whether it's you will brainstorm your free actions you will do daily to get to your goal, asking yourself who you need to become, whatever it is, but apply one thing. So this wasn't just some great podcast you listen. You can have nice dinner conversation about it with friends, but your life is not going to change. So apply one thing. So this can truly impact your life.
mm. Great, great advice. And I've got tons of notes over here. I'm excited to sit down and do that exercise as well. So thank you. I appreciate that. And then you mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad at the beginning. Now, on your journey, I'm curious if you've had another book or another resource that you feel like has really shifted or helped you along your journey.
Yes. Again, here with a warning. A lot of people are big on read a book a week. I'm not
Mm,
really a big believer of it because then you read to just read.
true.
So I had a few books that I read 7, 8 times. Why? Because every time I read it, it resonated differently. I was applying everything I was learning. So I would much rather people choose just a book or two and just study everything, master it, apply it. And the two books I would definitely recommend is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and second is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. These
Mm,
these are the books I studied a lot.
thank you. Thank you. I love that. I'm going to check those out. I believe Becoming
Mm-hmm.
Supernatural is on my list, but not Untethered
Mm-hmm.
Soul. So I will check them out. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for having me.